Hey guys, Pro1701 here, and today we're going to be ranking the Tardis console rooms. Now this will be part one of two, as there are several of them. We're going to be ranking the Doctors, so not everybody, not like the Masters, the Ronnies. This will be ranking the Doctors' different main console rooms throughout the show's history. This video was actually a video request from my patron. I got my very first patron recently, Michael Webster, and I have a thing where if you join my Patreon, even if you just join at the basic $2 level, every new member gets a free video request. So if you would like to get a free video request, you can just join at the entry $2 level. I have other tier levels as well that get you video requests per month, sometimes multiple video requests per month. But anyone who joins gets one free one, and him and I did some talking, and one of the things he was interested in was me ranking the Tardis console rooms. So I'm going to split this into two videos because we have several to get through. When I did everything out, I had 17 TARDISes to look at, I think, if I haven't messed something up. It's really tricky researching all the different TARDIS consoles because some of them have such minor differences from episode to episode. Finding out what actually constitutes at a different room is a little tricky. So I really did some research on that, and I tried to get the list about where I think it's supposed to be. I'm sure if I get something wrong, somebody will let me know down in the comments about it. But if you are interested in joining my Patreon, by the way, I do have a link to that down in the description below. So at least check that out, see what you think. I have different tiers. I have the Whittaker tier, a Colin Baker tier, a William Hartnell tier, a Matt Smith tier, and I also have, of course, the highest one, of course, is the Tom Baker tier, naturally. So check those out, see if there's anything there that interests you. And again, any tier you join, you do get a free video request, which is what this is. Part one of, this will be a 2-video series. Anyway, at the bottom in 17th place, I picked the Jon Pertwee TARDIS console from season 8 and 9. The one that looks a lot like the 60s one. I actually wasn't sure if it was just the 60s one in color, but it seems the actual console itself, I think, is new. I think the last episode they used the original console in was Inferno, when it was just the console. In Inferno, I think they junked it after that. So it's a new console. The room looks alright, but it still has that one wall that's just painted on. It's not really the roundels, it's just painted roundels, and it's noticeable even in black and white, but it's way more noticeable in color. And for some reason, just seeing that wall that's painted roundels and not really roundels just drives me nuts. It bothers me. It really does look like a cheap set, and so that really puts me off here, and it's the main reason why this goes in bottom place. Next on the list is the Jon Pertwee TARDIS that's seen in, what is it, the Time Monster? It's the one with the salad bowl roundels. Y'all know the one I'm talking about. I think it's in that one story in season 9. I'm thinking it's the Time Monster. I haven't actually seen the Time Monster, but I've seen scenes and pictures of that TARDIS, and it looks pretty bad. Some days it doesn't bother me some days it doesn't bother me. Some days it bothers me more than others. All of my lists are really fluid. If you ask me a month from now, this list could be totally different. But yeah, the salad bowls just look kind of weird. Next on the list is the Jodie Whittaker TARDIS. I don't care for this one. I don't like the crystal time rotor at all going up. I don't like the kind of column crystals that go like that. And then when the time rotor's going up, they go like this too. It looks so stupid, and ugh. I don't like the lighting. I like the fact the lighting can change when certain things happen. That's pretty neat, but the actual lighting in it usually... The modern series has this bad habit of not really lighting its TARDIS as well. It's like this ambient lighting that... Ugh. I mean, it's supposed to be a spaceship, not a restaurant for the French here. Come on, people. So yeah, I don't get into the Whittaker TARDIS much. That crystal in the middle really just drives me nuts. I don't really care for it. Next on the list is the War Doctor's TARDIS. I don't like the War Doctor's TARDIS because it's too much of just, you know what, let's take the classic design and the Russell T Davies design and put them together to show it's a halfway between point. And I hate that idea. I don't like it with the War Doctor's outfit. It's annoying. I don't like it with the Enterprise C in Star Trek. So let's just make it look like it's halfway between the B and the D. So we'll make it look part Galaxy class, part Excelsior class. The Enterprise C looks awful, by the way. Awful. Whenever I get around to ranking the Enterprises, which I actually do plan on doing, the C's at the bottom, I think it looks terrible. Much like this console room, I don't like it. Especially doesn't make sense when in context with the McGann TARDIS. You know, if you didn't have the McGann TARDIS there, it'd make a little more sense why it would look partly classic and partly Russell T Davies. But you had the McGann TARDIS there in the middle. Why would you go from the McGann TARDIS back to the classic TARDIS before doing this? It doesn't make sense. It's like they wanted to say, hey, look, here's kind of the new TARDIS, but we threw the round things back there. Remember the round things? I mean, the show even comments on the round things. It's too fan servicey for me. It's there just to be fan servicey. Look, the round things! And I just find it bothersome. The next one on the list, and I really think I'm going to get in trouble for this one. People are going to be mad about this one. There are people who are going to stop watching the video right here, I can guarantee you. Is the Russell T Davies era TARDIS, the 9th and 10th Doctor TARDIS. And I know a lot of people love this one, but I really want you to be honest with yourself. The main reason you love it so much is nostalgia. Let's be honest, there's a lot of people, they started with the modern series. This is their first TARDIS. This is the one they're attached to. They have that huge nostalgia love for it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. I see a lot of people on YouTube rank it as their favorite TARDIS, although a lot of them at least admit, you know, a lot of that's nostalgia. I admire that they admit that. And when the show first aired, I really liked it a lot too. I thought it was a really nice update to the TARDIS. Really unique design. I have some issues with it. One, the early episodes when that green light is way too prevalent through it. I find that irksome. I think it's too small, especially compared to other TARDISes in the modern series, especially Matt Smith's first TARDIS. It seems very crammed looking at it now. I guess maybe it's the dome shape, but it always feels really small to me. I do like the rotor, how it goes all the way to the ceiling. I always like a time rotor that goes to the ceiling and kind of has the teeth that do like that. I really like that. I enjoy that. The console being round instead of hex shape is an interesting choice. I don't care for it as much. I don't really care for the coral arches as much, giving it that kind of organic feel. I don't really jive with that myself. Like I said, it's all right. It's not bad. It just, as time goes on, it's like Matt Smith says, you know, it adds his grunge phase. He grows out of it. And that fits, you know. To me, this is like grunge music, grunge dress that people wore in the 90s. Well, eventually they grew out of it. They grew out of the music. They grew out of the look. And it's the same thing with this TARDIS. I think this is just a TARDIS that, as you become more of a Doctor Who fan, you grow out of. Just me personally. Again, keep in mind, I am a classic Who fan. I've been watching Doctor Who since I was 3 in the mid-'80s. So for me, nostalgia is, you know, the old school TARDISes. The round thing, you know, a bunch of white light, bunch of white walls, round things on the walls. You know, with a TARDIS console with a pink thing going up and down. That's my nostalgia. So, that's where that falls out. Next on the list is the first Doctor's TARDIS from Twice Upon a Time. Because this actually does look vastly different from his TARDIS in the 60s. I like it. It's a lot bigger than his 60s TARDIS, I believe. I think the actual TARDIS console looks nice. I like the time rotor there, even if it's not, again, not very accurate. I like the little monitor it has. Really, the only thing that puts me off in this one is that one wall that is very obviously the same wall that they used in Day of the Doctor when Matt Smith's talking to Tom Baker, and you see that wall in the background that looks kind of like a TARDIS wall. It's got the little round things right here next to it. They took that wall and reused it for the TARDIS wall, and I can't unsee it. When I see that, I'm like, that's the wall from Day of the Doctor, and that's all I can really focus on. And so it kind of takes me out of the episode right there. If it wasn't for that, it would be higher on the list, because I do like it overall. Next on the list is Jo Martin's TARDIS. I actually like her TARDIS a lot. Whereas in the first Doctor's Twice Upon a Time TARDIS, it's kind of like a modern update of the 60s TARDIS set. It's like, hey, let's take the 60s set and update it, but still have it look retro like the first Doctor's TARDIS. Jo Martin's is, hey, if Doctor Who came out today, what would that classic TARDIS look like? And so it takes a lot of the classic TARDIS elements, but really does them kind of for the 21st century. It's a great melding of the old and the new. It merges them really well. I really like it. I like that kind of bluish light that's going on in the background of it. I really enjoy this TARDIS. And I'd love for, like, say, the next Doctor to have a TARDIS that looks kind of like that. kind of go back to that classic setup, but with this more modern take on it, that would be heaven. I mean, Joe Martin's TARDIS looks better than Whittaker's TARDIS, like way better. So I'd love to see more of Joe Martin's TARDIS, or one similar. And then next on the list at I believe we're at number 10 now, is the TARDIS used from season 21 to season 26. So the final TARDIS from the classic series. The roundels seem smaller here, which is fine. The view screen also has those little lines around it, which I guess is supposed to give it more detail, which I don't really think it needed. The main issue here is, while I love the time rotor, I do love the time rotor going up and down with that more crystal look in the middle. That looks gorgeous. The actual console itself seems way too busy. There's a lot of crap on that console. I mean, it's got several monitors on it, which, don't get me wrong, I don't mind having a monitor on the TARDIS. I think that's kind of neat, having a TV monitor on the TARDIS. But it's also got a bunch of keyboards, a bunch of buttons, a bunch of switches. It's way too busy. Every time I look at it, my main thought is, that's a lot of crap on there. It's just too crammed in. There's too much going on. And I think the roundels look a little too small, if I'm remembering right. I like it. I believe it first appeared in the 5 Doctors, if I remember correctly. And then they used it throughout Battlefield. I think Battlefield was the final appearance of the TARDIS interior. But I love that time rotor. That's a good time rotor. Next on the list, and the last one we're going to talk about today, is Jon Pertwee's third TARDIS, the one he gets in Season 10, and uses in Season 10, Season 11. I like this one a lot. I like the way the roundels look on the wall with a little, I believe they have the translucent look behind them, and they're very wide. But what really sells this one for me is, one, I do like the console and the time rotor. I think the time rotor is starting to get some pink in it at this point. I think it's green and pink here. I kind of like that combination. But I like that one wall that's not, it doesn't have the roundels. It looks more like one of the Hartnell walls. That's with a lot of light shining behind it. I like the fact it has that wall. It really breaks up the look of the TARDIS and gives it just a little more, in my opinion. You've probably seen it. You see it in the 3 Doctors, that one wall that it looks different than the other wall. There's no roundels on it. I don't know why, but I really like seeing that wall, and it just seems like it gives that TARDIS a little more. Plus, I think that TARDIS has just the right amount of stuff on it. Again, I like the rotator. And it even has the nice little TV monitor on it when the first Doctor shows up. I like that. So, yeah, I think that's Pertwee's best TARDIS. So that is where we're at. We're going to leave off right there. Other things to do: click the like button, click the subscribe button, click the bell for notifications. Definitely click that subscribe button. Trying to get the channel to grow. I'd love to reach 400 subscribers soon. That would be great. Other things to do: I have started a Patreon, as I mentioned before. If you would like to contribute to that and submit video requests, there's a link to that down below. Most importantly, though, stay safe out there, and thank you for watching. And don't forget to check out part 2, which will be coming soon.